Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon psychic flying-type Pokemon Natu, the Tiny Bird Pokémon, and its rare evolution Xatu, the Mystic Pokémon. While they might come off as a bit creepy with all the staring that they tend to do, the members of the Natu family are still curious birds that can teach others a thing or two about the mystic arts of life. Natu have small, rounded bodies, with green feathers covering most of their form, with short, stubby wings that are decorated with bands of yellow, red, and black feathers, as well as having a small sprig of red tail feathers on the posterior and a red feather that sprouts from the top of their head. They also have a pair of red, three-toed feet with white claws, 2 digits in the front and 1 in the back for stability, further possessing a yellow beak and large black pupilless eyes with white sclera. Their evolved form Xatu have much taller frames with a human-like stance and green feathers covering most of their body as well, but with flat 2-toed feet with digits planted on the front and back equally for stability, as well as larger, broader wings and a much longer head feather. Their bodies are also adorned with a number of patterns and symbols made of white, red, black, and yellow feathers, with males having 3 rings of gilded feathers around the torso, while females only have 2. At a young age, the members of the Natu family are completely flightless because the wings have not fully developed, making their small size a major problem in survival. In order to intimidate others and make themselves look larger than normal, they rarely ever walk, preferring to hop around constantly. While this might do little to scare away the advances of most predators, Natu are thankfully excellent jumpers and have no problem avoiding most ground predators by leaping to the branches of trees. In fact, although they usually forage for food on the ground, they will occasionally leap onto branches to peck at new buds and shoots, oftentimes leaping 6 or more feet into the air. This radical jumping ability has allowed Natu to survive and adapt to many different environments, but the bulk of the foods that make up their diet are usually only found in savannas and deserts, particularly since one of their favorite treats in particular are cactus buds, as the concentrated water in these buds makes them a perfect snack for when water is scarce. In terms of offense, Natu have the potential and ability to utilize impressive psychic powers from an early age, but they are actually unable to use their powers in direct form of offense prior to evolution, aside from a stored power attack, a few ghost-type moves, and a peck attack for close quarters, in turn making them difficult for many trainers to use professionally. Xatu, on the other hand, spend nearly all day of every day doing only one thing: staring at the sun. Once Xatu begins meditating and staring into the sun at dawn, it will not awake from its deep meditation until sundown. During this time, Xatu make absolutely no sound and do not move in the slightest. Although concentrated meditation among psychic types is common, such incredible inner willpower is rare among bird Pokemon. In battle, this can make challenging Xatu a bit difficult at times, as they act very much the same regardless of the situation and seem to be incapable of panicking, being frightened, or even visually disturbed. This is made only more awkward by the fact that they meditate and even sleep while the eyes are wide open, so just determining whether or not a counterattack can be expected is a bit difficult. Thankfully, the chances of seeing many Xatu in battle are quite slim, as they are fairly limited in their attacks and are unable to learn many direct forms of attack for a considerable amount of time even after they evolve from Natu, making any professional combat without TMs to back them up unlikely. Though the fact that they learn Air Slash immediately after evolving and Tailwind shortly afterwards can help them fulfill some sort of tactical purpose until then. As far as their abilities go, these birds are able to make good use of their telepathic powers to mentally transfer physical ailments onto others and are incredibly light sleepers, possessing synchronized and early bird and base abilities, while those able to use their mystical powers to reflect many moves that do not deal direct damage to them can have access to magic bounce as a hidden ability. In looking at their stats in the case of Xatu, these birds do not have a great deal of power to them and are limited by their stats just as much as they are by the natural move pool, but they can at least hit decently hard with special powers and are rather nimble, their base special attack stat being above average for a fully evolved flying type Pokemon, and the base speed stat being above average for a fully evolved psychic and flying type Pokemon, so they at least have something going for them there. The most defining characteristic of Natu, of course, are the large eyes, which are almost always transfixed at a certain point, as if they are staring or watching something. Some scientists suspect that Natu are constantly considering the meaning behind their life, the lives of others, and many other theological questions that even humans have a difficult time answering as a result of their heightened psychic powers. It is this constant observation and contemplation, as some argue, that gives rise to the much more advanced mental state of their evolved form Xatu. Even if this is true, Natu is still too skittish to make this much of an advantage in the wild. Even if a person locks eyes with a Natu, they will only look back for an infinite amount of time as long as the person holds still. The slightest movement will still send a Natu scaring off in fear, making them both difficult to effectively battle and difficult to even capture in the wild. Although it has not been scientifically proven as to how it is possible, it is well known that Xatu have the bizarre and amazing power to see both the past and the future, with South Americans denoting these functions to the left and right eyes respectively, at the same time far more so than any of the psychic type Pokemon known. As such, people have come to revere Xatu as powerful mystics in both modern and ancient times, using them as forecasters for events that will impact later generations down the road. Ancient civilizations in particular relied quite strongly on the predictions of Xatu. Although they could not communicate with them directly, many ancient humans found ways using symbols and ciphers to communicate with the local mystics. Today, more and more people are returning to using Xatu as careful predictors of the future, but they're definitely not stupid. Xatu are well known for giving out the most vague of messages, or messages that can be interpreted in many ways in order to try and keep the future as safe as possible, though the extent of this behavior in regards to information on this past is less. Some believe that Xatu are purposely doing this because they don't think that humans deserve to have all of the answers, while others believe that they do so because they believe that the future is something that is meant to be thought about and not simply known. The most likely truth, though, may be that they simply are unwilling to change the future, or at the very least, do not have the power to change it, understanding the futility of it, which would explain the tendency to remain motionless at almost all times. What is well known, though, is that these amazing abilities have made them seem almost unearthly to some. Believe it or not, there are some people that honestly believe that Xatu are actually emissaries from another world, while others still claim that Xatu almost never tell the direct truth because they are afraid of what the future holds for everyone around them. Whether or not any of this is actually true, however, remains to be seen.
I'm usually not a really big fan of birds for obvious reasons, and while I might not be wholly appreciative of the presence of these strange avians, I think I can at least say that they are some of the more pleasant birds to be around for me. Natu are cute little critters that really steal the show with their adorable hopping, and even if they are rather skittish in the wild, that can make them all the more entertaining in practice. It is a shame they don't have much in the way of serious combat potential at a young age, but I'm certainly not going to complain about that one. Xatu are incredibly calm-natured, and it is incredibly difficult to seriously agitate them, and that makes it all the more worthwhile to hang out with them and just watch the setting sun. Even if they do have access to some extra flying-type powers that Natu cannot use, that doesn't make them that much more of a danger outside of battle, and for me, that means I can safely take a seat or lay down next to them and merely wonder what it is about the world that they stare at that they find so compelling.
Though they might not always be the best pick for a psychic specialist to rely on for serious offensive might, the tactical attributes of the members of the Natu family can give them a unique niche to fill that can more than make it worth the time to examine what they can really do. It might take a bit of artificial help to make the most of their power, but that just makes it all the more worthwhile to experiment with them and see the potential they can really have. Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you don't waste too much time trying to listen and look into whatever predictions they may have for the future. For any answers that you may be given can be so vague that the slightest misinterpretation of their words could lead to disaster for both you and these feathered mystics. Thank you all for watching this video. It is a great pleasure to share with you all the fruits of my research and all the positives it gives to understanding the wonderful creatures we call Pokemon and how their powers and behaviors function in their world. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more work like it, please give a like, comment, and or subscribe to the channel so you can get regular notifications on when new content is being uploaded. You can also find links to my DeviantArt page, Patreon, and Discord server in the description below. Please, join me on this road to seeing what the world of Pokemon has to share with us, and the many mysteries and wonders that keep us all coming back for more.